I put every single defensive player of the year in NBA history into a 1v1 tournament. Each game will be going to 11 points by 1s and 2s, and the seeding for our bracket was based on the player's 2K rating as well as position. We have 26 DPOYs, so Hakeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, Dwight Howard, Michael Jordan, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Evan Mobley all get a bye from round 1. Up first, we have 4-time DPOY Ben Wallace versus 2-time DPOY Mark Eaton. We are starting with the big men side of the tournament, and these big men games are pretty boring to watch in 2K. It's a lot of posting up, bricked layups with a few blocks here and there, and they take forever. So I'll keep these games short. With 11 blocks in the game, Mark Eaton won 12-10, and he moves on to round 2 to face Hakeem. Our next game is 2-time DPOY Alonzo Mourning versus 2012 DPOY Tyson Chandler. Unlike last game, this one was a blowout. Alonzo was getting block after block on defense and bucket after bucket on offense, leading him to an easy 11-5 win, so Alonzo moves on to round 2. Next is 2013 DPOY Marc Gasol versus 2007 DPOY Marcus Camby. This wasn't as big of a blowout as last game, but it was pretty close, with Marc Gasol winning 11-6, who moves on to round 2 to face Alonzo Mourning. Next is 4-time DPOY Dikembe Mutombo versus 4-time DPOY Rudy Gobert. This game was all defense. The offense was terrible to watch from both of these players. Eventually, these players did start to slowly score points, and somehow it was Gobert scoring more, winning 11-9, and he moves on to round 2 to face David Robinson. And the last center matchup was 2008 DPOY Kevin Garnett versus 2014 DPOY Joakim Noah. We were back to the blowouts with this game, this time with Garnett winning 11-6, and he moves on to round 2 to face Dwight Howard. Next, we have 2-time DPOY Sidney Moncrief versus 1987 DPOY Michael Cooper. We're on to the guard and forward side of the bracket now, and this game was so much more enjoyable to watch. Finally, the players weren't just posting up every possession. This was a close match with Moncrief winning 12-10, and he moves on to round 2 to face Michael Jordan. Next was 2-time DPOY Kawhi Leonard versus 1986 DPOY Alvin Robertson. Alvin Robertson isn't actually in the game, so Kawhi moves on to round 2 automatically. Then we had 1996 DPOY Gary Payton versus 2022 DPOY Marcus Smart. Gary Payton led this entire game. The problem with a lot of DPOYs is they are pretty garbage on offense, but they are getting eliminated in round 1. Gary Payton won 11-7, and he moves on to round 2 to face Kawhi. Next is 2017 DPOY Draymond Green versus 2004 DPOY Meta World Peace. This game was technically an upset because Draymond is 1 overall higher than Meta World Peace, and Meta ended up winning 11-7, so he moves on to face Giannis in round 2. And the final game of round 1 is 2023 DPOY Jaren Jackson Jr. versus 2-time DPOY Dennis Rodman. This game ended in the same score as the previous 2 games. Jaren Jackson was just too big for Rodman to stop, and he won 11-7, moving on to face Evan Mobley in round 2. Moving on to round 2 of the tournament, we are starting with 2-time DPOY Hakeem Olajuwon versus Mark Eaton. This game was another blowout. Hakeem was unstoppable on offense and also had 5 blocks against Eaton, leading him to an 11-6 win. So Hakeem moves on to round 3. Next, we had Alonzo Mourning versus Marc Gasol, and this game was the exact same result as the previous game. I thought it would be a little closer, but Alonzo dominated and won 11-6, so Alonzo moves on to face Hakeem in round 3. Next is 1992 DPOY David Robinson versus Rudy Gobert. This game was a lot closer than the others, but after getting tied up at 4, David Robinson took over the game, getting bucket after bucket and stop after stop. He took an 8-4 lead over Gobert, but Gobert did manage to come back a bit, but it was too little too late, and Robinson won 11-9, so he moves on to round number 3. Next is 3-time DPOY Dwight Howard versus Kevin Garnett. Just like last game, this one was very close to start, going back and forth. The game got tied up at 6 points, and from here, Garnett only allowed Dwight to get 1 more point the rest of the game. Garnett upset Dwight 11-7, and he moves on to round 3 to face David Robinson. On to the guards, we start with 1988 DPOY Michael Jordan versus Sidney Moncrief. This was our biggest blowout of the video so far. Moncrief stood no chance against Jordan. It really just wasn't a fair matchup at all. Jordan won 11-4, and he moves on to round 3. Next, we have Kawhi Leonard versus Gary Payton. Kawhi took an early lead this game and never looked back. His offensive game is just a lot better than Payton's, and Kawhi ended up winning 11-7, and he will move on to round 3 to face Michael Jordan. After them was 2020 DPOY Giannis Antetokounmpo versus Meta World Peace. This game was a complete blowout, of course, in favor of Giannis. He is always so good in these 1v1 tournaments, and he won 11-5, so he moves on to round 3. And the final game of round 2 is 2025 DPOY Evan Mobley versus Jaren Jackson Jr. I thought this would be a great matchup. They're very similar players with the same overall in the game, but Evan Mobley dominated the entire game. It ended up being a blowout with Mobley winning 11-5, so Mobley moves on to face Giannis in round 3. Moving on to round 3, we start with Hakeem Olajuwon versus Alonzo Mourning. We are starting this round with yet another blowout. Hakeem dominated the entire game. There's not too much to say about it. Hakeem won 11-5, and he moves on to the semifinals of the tournament. Next up was David Robinson versus Kevin Garnett, and Garnett had yet another upset in this game. At just a 92 overall, he is looking pretty unstoppable in this tournament. In fact, this was the biggest blowout of the entire tournament, with Garnett winning 11-3. He moves on to the semifinals to face Hakeem. Following them, we have Michael Jordan versus Kawhi Leonard. Finally, we had a closer game here. The two players matched up pretty good. It was Kawhi leading all game, and eventually he saw himself with a 9-7 lead. Must score possession for Jordan here, fading, but he misses the shot. Kawhi Leonard could get the win with a two-pointer, but he misses. Jordan with the rebound now. Jordan driving. Jordan blocked by Kawhi. And Kawhi gets the rebound. Takes another two for the win. He drains the shot. And Kawhi Leonard upsets Michael Jordan. The final game of round 3 was Giannis Antetokounmpo versus Evan Mobley. And yet again, we had a really good matchup. The game was back and forth the entire time, with everything getting tied up at 8. Can Giannis answer back, just blowing by Mobley for an easy dunk? This is our closest game in a while. Giannis with the block. Giannis to take a 2-point lead, and he gets another free dunk. Evan Mobley with a must-score possession here now. Inside, and he gets an easy dunk. For being Defensive Player of the Year, these guys are playing some really bad defense right now. Giannis on game point with the opportunity to win it all here. In the post against Mobley. Fading, and Giannis misses the shot. Mobley can tie it all up. Mobley blowing by Giannis. Giannis recovers, but does foul. Mobley driving. Mobley with the tough shot. It's no good. Giannis with the board. Giannis with another chance to win here. Driving, tough shot is good. And Giannis is going to defeat Evan Mobley. He's moving on to the semifinals to face Kawhi Leonard. Moving on to our final 4 players now. We start with Hakeem Olajuwon versus Kevin Garnett. I thought Hakeem was going to be the player to finally stop Garnett's run, but after being tied up at 3, Garnett started to slowly take a bigger and bigger lead. He ended up with a 9-6 lead, but with a bucket and then a stop, Hakeem had the chance to decrease the lead to just 1. He's a 99 overall. He was definitely expected to win this matchup. Gets a bucket there. Garnett has just been unstoppable all tournament, though. Just blows by Hakeem. Hakeem back in the post. Dream shake. And Hakeem misses the shot. Garnett on game point with the chance to win. Is he going to blow by Hakeem again? Yes, he is. Blows by Hakeem, but he does hit the layup. Kevin Garnett with the major upset, and he is moving on to the finals of the tournament. And our other semifinals match is Giannis Antetokounmpo versus Kawhi Leonard. In previous games, Giannis would usually win this game with ease, but this game was different. Kawhi was able to take an early lead against Giannis, and he held on to this lead the rest of the game. Kawhi led by 1 to 3 points the entire time, and he ended up winning 11-8, upsetting Giannis and moving on to the finals to face off against Kevin Garnett. And hopping right into this finals game, Kawhi's actually the higher seed, so he gets to start with the ball, and he starts with a dunk hanging on the rim. Honestly, these are not the 2 players I would have guessed would made it here. Kawhi Leonard with a nice block. Garnett in the post. Garnett with the bucket. Kawhi, one of the only players that can actually hit 2-pointers in this tournament, and he's just blowing by Garnett. Garnett gonna use his size against Kawhi, and Kawhi gets a block on him. Kawhi inside gets blocked by Garnett. Now Garnett goes up, gets blocked by Kawhi. It's just a block party right now. Kawhi pump fake gets blocked by Garnett. Garnett inside now. Garnett hits the layup. And we're tied up at 2. There's going to be so many blocks by the time this game is over. Kawhi doesn't get blocked this time, but Garnett gets the board. Kawhi gets the steal. And then Garnett gets the block. This game is insane. Garnett in the post. Nice move. And he hits the shot. Garnett with the 1-point lead. Garnett with the chance to take a 2-point lead, which is huge because you have to win by 2. And he gets blocked. Kawhi with the board and the dunk. Garnett blows by Kawhi for an easy dunk. Now Kawhi blowing by Garnett for an easy dunk. The game went like this the entire time. The two just went back and forth scoring and blocking each other. Neither player took a big lead the entire time. And eventually everything was tied up at 11. Kawhi blocked again. Garnett gonna get the ball now. Garnett with a tough layup. It is good. And Garnett takes the 1-point lead again. Seriously, with the game on the line, you're just going to do this, Kawhi. Like, take a better shot. This hasn't worked for him the entire game. And it's not working now. Garnett ties it up. I swear, sometimes this 2K CPU just shuts off his brain. Kawhi misses. Now Garnett can take another lead. And he does. Blowing by Kawhi there. Garnett with another chance to win the game. Can he finally do it? Can we finally have a winner? No. And no, Garnett gets a steal and a layup. Kevin Garnett defeats Kawhi Leonard. Garnett had 24 rebounds and 20 blocks. Kawhi had 21 rebounds, 3 steals, and 9 blocks. But Kevin Garnett is our 1v1 DPOY champion. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to check the video on screen right now. YouTube thinks you will love it, and I'll see you next time. Peace.